Hi, everyone. This is Billy Joe Adams. I'm here to present my ethical dilemma. The ethical dilemma I chose was the helpful receptionist. A man came into the counselor's office to get a message passed on to his wife, who was a client there. And when the client came out to check out the office, she was relayed the message that was left to her by the receptionist. While relaying the message, the client became very upset and informed the receptionist that this is her ex-husband and they were going through a very hard divorce, and that she was very fearful of this coming out, and she became very distressed and very upset. When I look at the problems in this, the main problem I see was that when the receptionist confirmed and agreed to pass on this message, it was a breach of confidentiality. The secondary problem was that the secretary was the one who actually did it. But there was a very large sense of distrust, distress, very upset from the client, which caused some non-maleficence to be had in this situation. The problem is related to the secretary and the failure to maintain client confidentiality. When I look at the ACA Code of Ethics, there's three that really sticks out. One of them is B3A. This code refers to anyone under the supervision of the counselor to keep the confidentiality of the client by any means necessary. B1C, this code pertains to the counselor, and it's just maintaining client confidentiality unless the client has given consent to release their identity. And this one was a big one because we really want to make sure that we do have the consent from the client and who they feel comfortable sharing with them that they are a client of ours. So A4A, this code discusses client counselors avoiding any harm to the client. When I look at the state codes for Texas, Texas State Board of Examiners and Professional Counselors 681.45B, a licensee shall not share any communication or identity of a client. When I look at the nature of this, the scenario violates several foundational principles that include autonomy, non-maleficence, and fidelity. With autonomy, the secretary took away the client's choice to let people know she was seeking therapy. And by confirming this without checking paperwork, without checking anything, she did, in fact, create some non-maleficence. She harmed the client. The client became very emotionally distraught, and there was some emotional harm that was being done. And then the fidelity, this could very well hurt the client and the counselor and the trust between them. And this could do some serious harm. The main principle was non-maleficence, which means do no harm. I chose this as a main principle because if the client is unable to trust the counselor, this could harm her for years to come. This may have been her first time. Maybe it was her seventh. I don't know how many times she had actually been here. But when you do have some distrust and when you do have a very fragile relationship that's just starting to form and there is mistrust, it could really hurt them. She could become very mistrusting of everyone in the office, not just the counselor, but the secretary, anyone, and that could add to her pain, which is the last thing that we want to do. One resource I found that cited this very well was Bachardi in 2019, helping professionals assume that an assurance of confidentiality is an indispensable requirement for effective counseling, and that without this assurance, many clients would not feel safe to discuss openly the intimate and personal aspects of their lives, and they would not seek counseling. It's true, when they come to us, they are vulnerable. They're really laying out all of their fears, their hearts, and they're asking us to really help them empower themselves. And trust is one of those key components in the therapeutic alliance. And we need that to really do the best we can for our clients. The duty of confidentiality is a duty owed to the proband. So in this scenario, and Hawkins et al. In 2018 stated this, in this scenario, the proband refers to the client, and it's our duty as a licensed professional to ensure that the duty is met. Confidentiality is instrumental in preserving patients' trust in health professionals. Griffiths and Patient, 2019. We are building trust for them for years to come. We may be helping them trust someone else in their life. We may be helping them trust themselves. And that starts with us and them knowing that they can confide in us and they can tell us things, and it stays within the bond of client and counselor, and it doesn't go anywhere else. And really, this does set a precedence for other counselors if they move, if they go to a different office. We really want them to have the best experience with us so that they are open to getting therapy when they are in trouble and they are open to receiving help that they need. We don't want them to shut down and push us away. We just don't want that. I will be consulting John Adams, who is a licensed and marriage family therapist in Katy, Texas. I will also join the Texas Association of Counseling. They have several workshops throughout the year about just ethics and really how to work with them, and they give out some really great resources. When I look at my potential courses of action, I found 5 that were possibles. One is retrain office staff about maintaining confidentiality, including appropriate responses to questions about confidentiality. Bring the receptionist in and have a one-on-one talk about what happened and appropriate ways to handle the situation next time. Create a cheat sheet with pre-planned sayings when the front office receives these types of questions. 4, be consulting with the supervisor to see what steps need to be taken, and calling in the client to discuss what happened and what course of action she feels comfortable with was my number 5. When I was going through these were just some thoughts in my head about just the potential consequences of each action. So with the first one, some of the office staff may feel like they're being treated like they are incapable of doing their jobs, or they're being talked down to because they received this packet just outlining just all the different procedures. Some may be relieved. Maybe this is their first time working in a counselor's office and they want that additional training. For number 2, talking to the secretary one-on-one. This could cause the secretary to shut down and become extremely upset. She may feel like I'm not taking her side, that I'm not supporting her. She could also, on the other hand, be very thankful that I came to her and she felt like she was respected and she really got to be heard and her voice mattered. When I talk about one-on-one, the third one was if I look back, it was creating a cheat sheet. The office staff may feel like I'm taking over their jobs or I'm micromanaging them. Or they may have a few that are like, yes, I don't have to think. I know exactly what I'm going to say. And this is a quick reference in case they're ever caught in a sticky situation again. They know what they're going to do. And then also something else I thought would be consulting with the supervisor. And I think that would be very positive. They would be able to help me come up with a plan to prevent this from happening again and come up with safeguards. The other side of that would be maybe if they're not pro-helpful, maybe they feel like it's not their job, or it's just not that big of a deal. Like, let's just talk about it and we'll just move on. And then number 5, calling in the client to discuss what happened. This could go 2 ways. She could be so thankful that I'm being honest and open with her, and we come up with this great plan and she feels empowered and this is a wonderful thing. Or she could still be so upset that she feels traumatized, or she feels fearful, or she feels like, oh my gosh, if I keep coming here, he's going to find out. And it just could turn into a very bad situation for her. And she could choose to kind of leave our office and leave the therapist. And she may, have a deep fear of working in therapy again for the fear of this happening again. The one that I chose would meet with my supervisor and ask them to help me come up with a plan during this course, I have found that the professors have been so helpful in just helping me write and just helping me understand. So I really feel like the supervisors there would be just as helpful and just as sweet. And I really think they could help me. They have had a variety of experiences, different clients. I really think they're going to have more knowledge and be able to help me come up with a plan. After I met with him, I would then meet with the secretary and come up with better ways of handling the situation and let her help me as a partnership come up with different ways. And then I would call the client and consult with them about how they would like to proceed. I really feel like calling them would be able to give them that sense of empowerment and let them have that